Hi there, thanks for joining me. In this Repricer.com video, we're going to take a look at competitor rules and how you can use them to target specific sellers or groups of sellers differently. Other repricing tools allow you to set how much you want to compete with your competitors by, say, beat by a penny. Well, Repricer.com does an awful lot more. Although you can achieve that same effect with Repricer.com, with our competitor rules, you can take this to a whole other level. By using competitor rules, you can target different sellers or groups of sellers completely differently. For example, if you've one seller you specifically want to target in a different way, you can. Or you can target groups of sellers, such as MFN, FBA, SFP, sellers with low feedback, and many, many more in different ways. This gives you tons of flexibility to determine exactly how your rule is going to work in different scenarios. In order to get started, let's open your repricing rules. Choose repricing rules on the left hand side. Then if you click on the rule you want to add a competitor rule to, you'll find the competitor rules on the third tab, competitor rules. And in those immortal words, here's some I made earlier. Here we have a collection of competitor rules which I actually made for another video discussing how to compete with Amazon, FBA, SFP and MFN sellers differently. Feel free to have a look at that video if you'd like to know how to do that yourself. I've included a link in the description. But let's just talk about the competitor rules. How these competitor rules work is that each rule is checked in turn, one after another, against the cheapest competitors. For any competitor rule which matches, we'll calculate what the price for your product would be. We'll then apply the lower price. In the event that none of the competitor rules apply, you'll fall back to your default rule. You'll find the default rule on the first page of your rules. If you'd prefer not to fall back to your default rule if none of your competitor rules apply, you can set this on the Advanced tab of your rules under Default Rule Fallback. Just change this option to if none of your competitor rules match, never fall back to your default rule. We would normally recommend, however, letting it fall back to your default rule. So we'll leave it like that for now. So let's have a look at a competitor rule, shall we? At the top of the competitor rules, we determine how we want them to compete. We can beat them, price above, or match. Then we have our buy box winner rule, fulfillment rule, and prime rule settings. On the left-hand column, we can determine our own settings, and on the right, our competitors. This means that you could have rules set up for your products being FBA or your competitors being FBA, you winning the buy box or your competitors winning the buy box, and so on. Moving on to our stock and shipping tab, we can control a good number of other options. Things such as stock level, stock age, fulfillment time, recent sales, and even free shipping. Then, looking at feedback, we can also target sellers based on their feedback count or their feedback rating. And then finally in our last tab, we can include or exclude specific sellers or groups, starting with marketplaces, which allow us to create competitor rules to target only certain marketplace channels, specific merchants, so you can include or exclude specific sellers. For our final option, Repricer will target the cheapest seller automatically. However, using this option, you can have it target sellers further up. For example, you could set it to target the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th cheapest seller instead. If you are looking to compete with Amazon specifically, we have a helpful trick to speed things up, where if you just type Amazon, you'll compete with them specifically. Once you've created your rule, just hit Save to save it. And that's just a quick introduction to your competitor rules. You can see there's a lot of options and controls, so to see it in action, I would encourage you to take a look at that other video I mentioned, which looks at targeting SFP, Amazon, FBA and MFN sellers specifically differently. It'll give you a bit of an idea of how this works in practice. You'll find it on the channel. I'll also include a link in the description. If you have more questions about your competitor rules, do get in touch with the support team who'll be more than happy to help. If you haven't started a trial yet with Repricer.com, we offer one free for 14 days, no credit card required. You can also get a demo with a member of our team. Thanks for joining us today and have a great day.